This is Steve Ridgell, and I want to encourage you to do something special over the next 2 Sundays. The next 2 Sundays are Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. And so if you're not a believer, I want to encourage you to go to church somewhere. If you are a believer, I really want to encourage you to invite people. If you're someone that is a believer but you haven't been going to church regularly, this is a great time to start back. Lots of you will have family on one of those weekends. Invite your family to church with you. Invite neighbors. Christmas Eve is a great time to start back to church or to go to church, to invite someone to church. Now, a lot of churches have Christmas Eve services. That may be great, but of course some people do family things that night and can't come. But if you have a regular service, that's a great time to invite people. A lot of churches will have something special, but even if they don't, just a lot of people are thinking about Jesus at Christmas. So an invitation to maybe meet you at church or come with you to church on Christmas Eve may really be meaningful. And of course, New Year's Eve is a great time also to invite people to church because people are thinking about New Year's resolutions. And there may be people you've talked to that are thinking about, I really ought to get in church this year, or maybe I should find out about Jesus. Maybe I ought to make a decision about Jesus. Whatever people are thinking. So New Year's Eve is a great time to invite people to church. Invite them to kick their year off, end the year right, a commitment to the new year. That can be a great time to invite someone. And if you're not a Christian, I want to encourage you to visit a church close to you. Take some of your Christian friends that have invited you, take them up on the invitation. Ask them if you can meet them for church or just show up at church. Christmas Eve really is a good time because if you're not a believer and you've heard all this during the Christmas season about baby Jesus and the fact that unto us a Savior is born, I'm going to tell you there's not a better time than on Christmas Eve to show up at church and think about the gift that God's given you in Jesus. Maybe it's a good time to make a decision about Jesus, but certainly come give it a look. See what Christians do. See what Christians do in their worship, what Christians mean on Christmas Eve. Or come New Year's Eve. That's a great time if you're not a Christian. If you're thinking about, I really ought to do something about my spiritual life for the first of the year. I really want to do something about my life. I want my life to be different. Come New Year's Eve and see what Christians talk about. As we look at the new year, it'd be a great time for you to come and for you to think about what it means to start your Jesus journey. If you're a believer that's not been active in church, please, those are 2 great Sundays to come back and start going to church. Christmas Eve is a great time to start. New Year's Eve, when you're thinking about the things you'd really like to do next year with your life, that's a great time to start. If you're in Abilene, I really want to encourage you to come over to Hillcrest Sunday morning, Christmas Eve. Boy, you'd love our preacher Nathan. He's good, he's practical, he's down to earth. It'd be a great time. If you're in Abilene, come to Hillcrest on New Year's Eve. Now, I got to tell you, Nathan won't be there. I'm preaching New Year's Eve, but we're going to be talking about what it means to follow Jesus in the new year. So let me just encourage you, these are great Sundays to invite people or for you to be sure and come to worship with fellow Christians as we talk about Jesus and what it means to follow him.